Well, good morning. This is Plant Smart Living with Farmer Fred. It's a nice warm day here we have in December. I'm just loving it. You know, the last two winters were kind of harsh. I have my little boy Bailey here with me. Anyhow, we recently had a viewer ask a question on YouTube. His name is Witcherworks, a really nice gentleman. He seems to have a family that he's concerned about their health and everything. And so he had asked the question, can I grow potatoes year-round? And so I just wanted to take a few minutes and talk about that. So anyhow, we're out here at my potato patch, you know, and before we talk about potatoes, I always, you know, the one nice thing about I have a Facebook page and YouTube channel. You know, I'm learning that it's really nice to be able to meet new people and build relationships with them, and you know, share the knowledge that I've accumulated all these years. You know, hands-on knowledge, on-the-job training, as I've always called it. You know, because being 40 years in my contracting business, you know, I'm always involved in plumbing projects, electrical, carpentry, and you know, and of course gardening for 25 years. So it is nice to be able to have this platform to be able to share with others. Well, so we're going to talk about potatoes, but you know, as far as relationships go, when I think of potatoes, I think of another good friend that I've come to know, and his name is Will Kriske from Potato Strong. And so we've communicated for some time over the last few months. He loves nutrition and teaching that, and he's also getting his feet wet in gardening, you know, learning about potatoes and vegetables and all. So we've just had a lot of nice conversations over the phone with him. And so but he has a nice garden he's developing, and he's looking forward this year to really getting his feet wet and getting the gardening out there. So anyhow, as far as getting back to the question, can you grow potatoes year-round? Well, certainly it all depends on the temperature, the area that you live in, what zone you live in. For instance, we live here in Zone 6 in Pennsylvania, and so our frost dates like May 15th, and in the spring, and then the fall it's like October 15th. So standing out here in our potato patch, I bought potato seedlings in May, early May, and maybe just right in the beginning of May, maybe even end of April, and you could get them in the ground early spring while it's still cool. Potatoes take anywhere from 70 days to 120 days to grow, and then you know, you could then store your potatoes. Like I grew, in fact, an earlier video I did was how I grew 125 pounds of potatoes for $6.99. So, you know, I would encourage you to maybe watch that video. It was a fun video to film. And so I bought 10 pounds of seed potatoes and planted them out here. And what I did is, you know, we love our potatoes. And so my daughters, you know, I have 3 daughters, Julie, Heather, and Emily, and they're always wanting to come over and get their dad's vegetables. And so, but potatoes, you know, they fly out of here real quick. And so what I did here is I put in another line of potatoes. These I got one row over here where Bailey's digging, and I added another row right here for next year. I actually had piles of wood chips, and what I did is I put these piles of wood chips here. They've been about 2 years old now, decomposing, and what I'll do is I'll go down the center of each row and peel it back, and then dump in compost in the middle of these rows, and then plant my potatoes in the compost. And you know, but you want to hill up your potatoes, and so using these wood chips that are decomposing really creates a nice environment or habitat for those potatoes to grow in. But our potatoes, you know, I was probably harvesting them up until September, and they can also sit in the ground in the soils for a little bit of time. You don't want them in there too long, or they may rot. But potatoes I grew this year, you know, we ended up eating them, so I wasn't able to store them down in our basement. But you can store potatoes for a couple months down in a cool environment, dry environment, maybe 50, 55 degrees. Another reason though we grow winter squash here. You know, I've done a lot of videos on how to grow winter squash and how to store winter squash. Those you can store down in your basement for up to 3-4 months, and so those are another great storage vegetable to have. But as far as growing potatoes year round, yeah, you could do that if you have the right environment. You know, if the temperature's anywhere from 70, 80, 90 degree temperature, you know, you can get your potatoes in the ground. And you know, they don't like temperatures that are real hot, but you know, you really have to look in the area that you live in and see what your frost dates are and so on to be able to determine if you could grow them year round. And also, you know, another good thing to do is if you have a garden is to get your soil tested, you know, for nutrients and compost composition. Your local agencies should be able to, or you go to some supply houses, offer you some soil test kit where you can get them and test your soils and send them out. So that's also helpful if you're a beginner gardener, to get your soil tested, see how many nutrients are in your soil. I had mine tested a couple years ago, and it just really needed a little bit of added nitrogen. And so anyhow, I think that pretty much covers your question. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below, or if you'd like to subscribe to our channel to receive new videos, that would be great as well. So I just want to thank you for joining me today, and I just hope you have a wonderful day. Until next time, this is Plant Smart Living with Farmer Fred.